flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Gene.
Good morning.
The first thing on the agenda is to approve the agenda. Is there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Add the one plat.
Is that one plat here?
Well, we have plats.
It says plats.
Okay.
Yeah, the RFP for the city of Carroll, did we want to discuss that?
Sure. That's up to chair. Do you want to discuss that this
Yeah, we
week?
can. You want to add that on here then?
I'll approve the agenda with the addition of discussion on the RFP from the city of Carroll for office space.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the agenda with the addition of the RFP of the city of Carroll. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next we have is approval of the minutes. And we only have the minutes for the last meeting, not Friday.
Because I had packets done before our
Okay.
meeting, so those, that canvas meeting will be next week.
Okay. If there are no questions or comments, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carries. Okay, next is the courthouse telephone system support.
Morning, Carl.
Good morning, Carl.
Yeah, I read this late last night, kind of like,
Yeah, how do you know?
Like
You
you
don't, and I don't think, I trust that Mike Scott didn't know
At
either
the
about
time.
Toshiba going out of business in the US and Canada and Mexico, so, at the time.
Yeah,
And,
sure.
So, anyhow, so the Toshiba going out of business, Scott's decided to get out of the telephone business, and has given us some recommendations on who to contact. And I did talk with Dan DeGard with American Telephone Systems, I believe that's the...
Out of Des Moines?
Yeah, Des Moines. Yeah, American Business Phones. They're gonna come up and do a look over of the system, and they've actually got some local ties. His wife's from Manning originally, so they're up in the area. A little closer than anybody else, so that may be a benefit as well. And they've been in the Toshiba business for quite a while. So we're looking for alternatives here, so.
Do you know who this guy is from American Business? That's
No.
coming up.
That's kind of what I thought, without knowing anything about them. I noted that it would be logistically closer than Mason City, and the other one says Omaha Lincoln. Their office is actually in Lincoln.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's even further out.
Right. So that's, and Dan, or Mike Scott had mentioned him several times, so I know he's pretty comfortable with that.
Does he have any inventory?
Yeah, they've got inventory. I talked to
No,
Dan.
I mean, this Mike Scott, does he have any old inventory he's looking to maybe?
I don't know.
That fits our system?
I don't know if he does
Come
or
as a
not.
Uh,
backup.
Well, a couple, few extra phones or those things that break more often.
Yeah, now, when they did our system, they ordered everything in, so it wasn't like
Okay.
they
He didn't.
had anything in stock.
Yeah.
Pull it
But I
off
can
the
ask
shelf.
him, yeah. I doubt if he had,
Okay.
a bunch of the stuff in.
He's probably in contact with about 3 people here that would
Yeah.
buy it
Probably take his
Yeah.
inventory also.
Mhm.
at the right price.
Yeah.
And I'm
And so
not,
it would be
I'm
at
not
the
as
right
worried
price.
about the inventory, the equipment inventory, because the warranties are still good. So everything we've got, our warranties, Toshiba's gonna stand behind.
how long was that warranty?
There were 7 years, I believe, on some of it, and 5 on the other. And I'd have to pull it out to see exactly which equipment was under the 7. which was
And we
under
just
5.
put that in, what, last fall?
Actually, it was this spring, wasn't it?
Or this spring?
Yeah.
How does a car dealer honor car warranties when they go out of business?
But they're not totally out of business, they're just out of business in the US, Mexico, and Canada.
But they're gonna honor the,
That's what they said.
Yeah, I know.
You know, that's what Mike said, they,
There's a lot of refurbished companies, they'll just tell you to
Right.
send the parts there and they'll pick up the tabs for them. That's what they're probably doing.
yeah.
They won't
And there's
do it
really, as
themselves.
far as handsets, you know, there's not a lot of wear and tear on those.
Okay.
I suppose in the whole scheme of things, we probably had maybe 5 or 6 handsets that ever
Okay.
went bad on the old system. You know, so that's not something you have a lot of wear and tear on.
Okay.
I'm more concerned with the service on
Yeah.
the equipment on the server side. I can get in and do some very minimal things, which is all I could do on the last telephone system, and so we really depend on them to come in and fix anything that's gone wrong with the system. A lot of pieces to that in that
Mhm.
software.
Made the system all obsolete awful quick, didn't it?
It did.
and that was the option. That our objective was to upgrade
Yeah,
and get with the
yeah.
times.
You know, how do you know?
How do you know? Yeah, you just don't
Never
know.
say never.
So anyhow, I just want to let you or be aware of that, and that I am talking with, like I said, American Business Phones, so
Have you contacted either of the other ones? The,
you don't have it yet.
might be all right to contact them. I agree with you, they're the closest, and maybe these others do have some connections better than what we know about. And like the one, Omaha Lincoln in western Iowa, we're kind of on the eastern edge of western Iowa. I don't know
Yeah.
how they draw that line, but, so, and Mason City's quite a ways, but keep the other company honest anyhow.
Yeah, will do, and, well, it escaped me what I was gonna say.
What do we have for like switching equipment down there? Yeah.
Well, I couldn't tell you really. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's all
It's
new
all their
equipment,
stuff.
and it's all their stuff. You know, they basically come into our building through Western Iowa Networks, and then all the internal equipment was changed out to Sheehan. So I know they've got at least one server and a piece of equipment called Madtran, so. And everything else goes through our network.
How's the system working?
It seems to be working pretty good. We put a new battery backup in. We had a couple of issues where we had a power blip, and the battery backup that was being used wasn't enough to carry it over. So we replaced that. And one of the issues is that when the phones go down, most of the computers then go down because the network goes through the phone to the computer. So if the phone goes out, then it loses connection to the computer for the network. So we want to make sure those stay up. One of the issues, and if we do have a power outage, the phones will reboot. If we keep the system downstairs up, the phones will reboot when the power comes back on, and then they should get connection back into the computers again. If that becomes an issue, we will run some additional wire and run them on separate. But hopefully we don't have to do that, because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, that's all I got for you. Just wanted to make you aware of it.
I appreciate the update, and
Yeah.
I can't think of any other options right now.
Yeah, if you think of some, let me know.
I will.
Just hope it
Go back
runs
to it.
unfortunately.
Go back to it with it. If you didn't cans, and
Hopefully we're good for 5 years at least.
I do too. I hope so too.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Thanks, Carl.
Mr. Pingree.
Morning, Ken.
Good morning, ladies and
Good
gentlemen.
morning, Ken.
Good.
How you guys all doing?
Good.
Everybody had a chance to look over the revised RFP?
Yeah, I had to look up one word.
Facial?
Yep.
The G-man got creative there.
Real creative. Looks fine to me. I think
I have no problems with it.
we've got all our kind of gotta open up enough that we can do anything, really.
I think it leaves it pretty, I mean, it'll set the stage for good interviews with the people, so. And you're gonna send those out, Courtney?
Well, I have a list, but I need to check with you to make sure that, I think I have everybody, but
Okay.
maybe make sure I'm not missing
I can come
anything.
up this afternoon and go over it.
How many you got there, roughly 4 or 5?
6 maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think, and I'm thinking maybe one other one called last week.
Yeah,
I didn't talk to them, I'm not even sure where they were from.
one was out of California.
There we go.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on it, or?
No, I
Good to go?
I think Chris incorporated what we want to change.
I think so.
Yep.
And then are you gonna have that published?
Yep, I'll send
Okay.
that to the paper after the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, we probably should have a motion and go ahead and authorize, to approve and authorize the auditor to send out the RFP to prospective people.
Bidders. I'd make a motion to that effect.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? It's been moved and second to authorize the auditor to send us out to potential vendors and also to approve the RFP. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Any other words of wisdom today?
No. Hopefully it stays quiet.
Jail population,
Pretty good. Busy weekend.
full?
Not quite full. Not quite.
Just got just a little room in the end, huh?
We can squeeze a couple more in there.
Vacancy signs.
We're having plumbing issues, so. Turned Zach loose on those here. He had to make a trip up Friday night, and now we're having trouble with one of the other units in one of the cells, so. We're trying to avoid ordering new ones. I think Zach priced those, and I think they were between $5,000 and $6,000,
Jeez.
so.
For what's that for?
The toilet and the sink are one combined unit.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't have it in your house, but in a jail setting, it's good plumbing, but they're just worn out. We can't get parts for them anymore. So we just, right now, we're just trying to cobble things up and keep them working.
Okay. Good enough?
Thanks, Ken.
Everything else, all right, have a good day, everybody.
Okay, next we have 2 resolutions to interfund transfers. You want to explain those to us, Courtney?
Sure, back when we were doing our budgeting, we, decided to move money from local option fund to fund the supplemental and general basic fund. That allowed us not to have a supplemental levy and, to keep the general fund levy down too, I think, or, I'm not really sure, I don't remember why we did the general funds, I think we X that out. Yeah, I'm not sure why we did the general fund, do you remember why we moved it?
Mental
Because
health.
didn't we,
Well, we were going to, where are we paying the mental health from? Does that go through general fund?
yeah, that has.
So to make our payment to Rolling Hills, because we're not levying for mental health, we're using our local option, and I think it's going through the general basic.
Yeah,
Yep, that was it.
yeah, okay. So this is 85% of what we budgeted. And then after the first of the year, when we usually apportion the rest, we can look at, do we want to apportion the remaining 15%? Or do we want to do 14 and see where we're at? So,
Looking toward the time.
yeah.
Gives us some flexibility.
Okay. So is there, after you heard the explanation, is there a motion to approve the first one for $309,077 from local option to general basic?
So moved. I'll second it.
Then moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Danzer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next we have the resolution for interfund transfers from local option fund to general supplemental. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
I'll move to approve that resolution in the amount of $336,923.
I'll second that.
Been moved and second to approve the interfund of $336,923 from local option and general supplement. Any further discussion? If not, roll call?
Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Danza?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll pass these around. They need signatures on this.
Take thumbs today. Is Dave coming up for utility permits?
No,
Oh, he's not?
no, he's out on the road this morning, talked to him this morning.
Okay, so Dave did give me the utility permits. Be here. So the first one is from West Central Iowa Rural Water Association. Let's see here. How about I pass these around and you, I'm not sure what. You guys are more familiar with those than I am. This
There's a
one's-
read.
Dean's got it today.
Radio?
Or no? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I gotta catch up on these.
Yeah.
I have it next week, I believe, is that correct?
Rich,
No, I think I'm in.
yeah, Rich is next week. Steve and Rich.
Huh?
Steve and Rich is okay. Let me go back on
We
this.
skipped a week or
Yeah. Yeah, Rich and then Neil and then Gene.
Hmm.
He's got, 2nd of October.
All right, I'll change that.
You got the next one?
Yeah, I do. The other one is from Western Iowa Power Cooperative. It says installation of underground electrical wire in Ewalt, section 25, under Granite Avenue. And I know he said there was maps on the back. Pass that one around too.
It's in the county right away, but it's more
That's
underneath
probably,
the drive. It's going underneath the
That's
driveway.
probably right by the
Yeah.
stockpile, isn't it?
That's what I'm guessing it is.
Yeah.
30 Walt.
25.
This was where?
Walt 30.
Yeah, it was right by the stockpile.
That was it.
Oh, there you go.
Walt 17.
No, this one here is.
Looks like it's going underneath the driveway, but it must be in the county right away on Birch Avenue. Is that right?
Except for Jolly Bernadine.
That's this one?
That's for the Woodco.
And this one's in section 25, between section 25 and 30 of the
What section's that one in?
25, 30.
That's real simple, it's just
This would be
there's
the
no
Hill
bin,
Road. South of the Hill
boring
Road.
underneath. I believe, 120th Street.
Yeah.
This is
Granite.
Third.
Granite.
Section 30, Eagle.
That'd be here.
Okay.
south of 320.
This would be Birch,
Oh, this is coming from the water plants.
Yeah.
That's coming from the.
Okay, okay. I'll let you look at those for us, Lana. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is by the, yeah. It is by the wells. South Manning, Nish.
That's for New Bend.
Okay, yeah. If there's no other questions, I'd make a motion to approve the utility permits.
I'll second. Go ahead.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the two building utility permits. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, next we have a voter registration proclamation. Courtney presented this to, I don't know, if you guys have read it, I don't know if you have, anybody has an issue with this? You wanna give a background on this?
Yeah, this came from the Secretary of State. They're promoting voter registration. Let's see here. The National Association of Secretaries of State established National Voter Registration Month in 2002 as a nonpartisan means of encouraging voter participation. They also support independently organized National Voter Registration Day efforts, which will be held on September 26, 2017. So they were asking counties to just do a proclamation stating, reminding people to vote and encouraging it. And I don't know if you want to read that, or you want me to read that.
You can read it.
Okay. So the official proclamation state, whereas registering to vote empowers eligible citizens to exercise their right to vote on Election Day, and whereas while Iowa is one of the nation's leaders in voter registration and voter participation, with more than 2 million residents currently registered to vote, some eligible citizens have not yet registered. And whereas the voter registration process in Iowa is easier and more convenient than ever before, with online voter registration, Election Day registration, and applications available through government agencies across the state. And whereas the state of Iowa has an online voter registration system enabling citizens to register to vote and update their registration status quickly and easily any time of day. And whereas the need for public information and education regarding voter registration is extremely critical as Iowa voters prepare to take part in the 2017 city elections, and whereas we encourage all interested citizens and all appropriate media outlets and civic organizations to participate in this nonpartisan voter registration awareness campaign to encourage the maximum participation of qualified voters in Iowa.
Okay.
So, if we do this, it's just a signature by the board chair, proclaiming September 2017 as National Voter Registration Month, and that September 26, 2017 is National Voter Registration Day, and that just kind of stays in line with what the state's doing on their level.
I don't think, there does not need to be a motion on this, does there?
Well, there's a place for you to sign.
Okay.
So I don't know if we just want to authorize your
Right, some
signature.
signature.
I'll move to authorize the chair to sign the National Voter Registration Month proclamation.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to authorize the chair to sign the proclamation for National Voter Registration Month. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Would have been nice to have had it September 1 instead of the 18th of September when it's proclaiming September.
A little further.
Well, we missed out on one meeting too, so.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
We got it before the 26th.
Yeah, what the hell, you've only been here for one meeting.
Yeah, I know. Just lay off, lay off.
I remember you, you don't need a name tag or anything.
You weren't gone that long.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
All right, next, that backfired on me. Next, we have approval of plats. There was one in our packet, and then there's also this additional one. You want this one back for me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking for it. If you guys are done looking at it, I'll need it back, yes.
On that one that's being passed around on Section 11, Sheridan Township with Les Fleischman, the situation's unique there, and maybe Courtney knows more about it than I do, but I think there's a neighbor is putting in an irrigation, and so he's gonna buy off a piece of an acreage that's there, platted out already, because that's gonna get irrigated, or the irrigation rate's gonna affect it in some way. So he needed a little more area to get his circle to go.
And that's what number 7 is
And
about too.
and so it's gonna flow into number 7, but the plat we're first approving is odd in shape if you look at it. Kinda goes around kink.
Yeah, it's
That's-
got a curve to it.
And that's because of an irrigation system that's going to be installed there.
And that the new plat incorporates some of the original plats, right? That's reading the vacation thing.
Well, the vacation, there's an acreage.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here, there's an original plat there, that some of that's gotta come off. That's what we're vacating, is that right?
We'll be vacating, actually, there's a little sliver here next to this is lot 1.
Yeah, so-
And that little tiny sliver is lot 2.
Oh, that real tiny one off,
Yeah.
off to the
Oh, my
side.
So we're
Okay.
vacating 1 and 2, and then it'll be 3 and 4.
Like I said, Courtney's more into the details. I know the basics why.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
But
these-
other than being complicated, there's nothing wrong with it that I could see. It's all,
And usually you do the vacation before you do
The
this,
plats.
but there's an issue with the time of sale. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and record these so they can get the sale done, and then when we do the vacation in October 10th or October 9th, then we can process it in the books, but until then, it'll just kind of sit idly for a few weeks until we get things in order.
Okay, so first we have the 2 plats. Is there a motion to approve the 2 plats?
yes, I'll move to approve the 2 plats.
I'll second it.
Then moved and second to approve the 2 plats. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next is a set of public hearing for a petition to vacate survey lots 1 and 2, southwest 1/4, northeast 1/4, section 118534.
I can pass this around. Basically, it's just the document. It doesn't have a map or anything on it, but this is what was submitted to me. And after talking with the owner and the attorney and the surveyor, we decided that they'd go ahead and do the survey we just approved, and so that it wouldn't hold their sale up, and then we'll go ahead and do this. If you remember the last time we had one of these, which wasn't that long ago, you have to publish it twice and have 14 days in between. So we're looking at October 9th would be the earliest, and I'd like to set the hearing that day at 10 a.m. so we can consider that petition.
I'll make a motion to set the hearing for October 9th at 10 a.m. Any comments or questions?
Second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and second to set the public hearing for petitioner vacate survey for October 10th, or October 9th at 10 a.m. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Did you want Daryl here for,
Well, he was gonna talk about some other stuff too.
okay, do you wanna call him? He was,
I mean, unless you guys wanna talk about his wages before he comes.
sounded like he was gonna try to be here around 9:30, but he also said he was on call, so.
Maybe
I was.
Anyway, he said we could, if he wasn't here, we could call him and let him know we were ready,
Well,
so.
let's go, first of all, next after that agenda is manure management annual updates. I don't have any here.
Oh, sorry, they're in the file.
Okay.
She's hoarding them. Should've used them to cushion that ladder fall.
Sorry about that.
I knew there was some coming to that effect.
I didn't put him in here because we had a meeting and I was.
That's fine. I knew
You knew I couldn't
Hey,
resist.
today's the day we're giving everybody crap.
You lit in the crap and you wouldn't have hurt your ankle.
Put that under one step.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do the manure management. So we have Hinter site, Larry and Kyle Hinter, section 1, Lincoln Township, Audubon County, and they have made changes. They've changed crop rotation and also used manure analysis. And then we have one for Nisley and Nisley, and that is in section 32 of Arcadia. And they have made changes also. They've changed crop rotation and are also using the manure analysis. Next, we have M&T Pork, section 27 in East, and they have made no changes. There, now you can have that back.
All right.
Matter of fact, while we're on this subject, I see EPA is gonna have a hearing on the master matrix. Is that today?
I can't remember if it's today or not.
Okay. RFP, City of Carroll. Neil, what you had said that you looked at the parking?
Well, I'm just looking at it, and they would, they'll take bids either for a master site for the library and the city hall or separate sites, and then we would only be interested in the separate site. And it said the commercial rental with a minimum of 6 offices, I believe we have 8 there, preferably at least 8, so we'll just make that minimum of 2,200 square feet. I'm not sure if, or it might be a little low on that. The site should have a minimum of 18 parking spaces, and in the north parking lot, there are 15 spaces, a couple of them which are being used on a daily basis, and some that are being used intermittently by the homemakers, but they're basically come and go. But in addition to those 16 spots on the street, depends how far down the street you want to go, there's easily 20 spots there. And if they do run short on spaces for the public, their employees are welcome to park in our parking lot. So I think that parking thing. I don't anticipate a lot of places in Carroll who have commercial space, this many offices available right now. And I think we should try to help the city out and help us out too. Another thing that's nice about our space is they got a counter space there. You know, it's not like just a hallway with offices. There's a place where they can greet the public and say, well, which city official do you want to see in that type of thing? So I think that we should put together a proposal and send it to them. And they're scored on the price, the site suitability, the site location, the size, site visibility and access, and parking. Those are all the different things, and they have a percentage of, they give a weight to each one of those. And of course, the price and suitability is the 2 of the highest ones. Another thing that we need to keep into discussion is we have contracted with Lens Real Estate to promote this, and I don't know if they're aware of this proposal or not. But if I recall right, our agreement with them is if we get it rented, they get the first month's rent. I think that, or it was $1,000.
I can't.
It was either a
I'm not
flat
sure.
rate of 1,000 or the first month rent, I'm not sure. So the longer the period of time we do it, either way, the better off we'll be. And I don't,
It's surprising Lent hasn't come and approached that on that.
yeah, I don't know if they've made the connection yet. So, I think we should work with them in putting a proposal forward. They may have some insight, being real estate professionals, which none of us are here are real estate professionals, that would be helpful. But that's just my thought, is we contact lands, we put together a proposal, and we get it out to them, and there's a deadline for that. It's, oh boy, do you remember the deadline?
Say October 1st, but it might be around that.
Yeah, it's somewhere like the 1st of October or something. The space has got to be available by July 1st of 18. So that's no problem.
It has to be available July 1st of 18.
Yeah.
What happens if somebody walks up to us tomorrow and wants to take it?
Yep. Well, if we've got a solid
locking
lease,
ourselves
it
in
would
on
only be
loan.
available to July 1st of 18.
Okay.
I guess it's calculated risk,
Yep.
and we have to
It's been
decide,
sitting
do we
empty a
want
long
to...
time. I'd say their calculations are pretty low on that risk.
October 2nd's deadline to get this back.
How much
Yeah, do we want to
expense-
burn the hand or
Yeah,
one
that's
in the
right.
bush type?
How much expense are we gonna have on this? Signage?
I don't know.
Will we have anything extra that we'd have to hoops jump through, if they so chose to take it? Did you see anything in it?
I would think we would.
Or would they would be doing the most of the
Yeah,
signage?
I think they would have to do most of the signage and that type of thing. I guess my concern would, I guess I have a couple concerns, and one of them would be, is that property, I mean, it's ADA accessible from the back, but it's not from the front to the counter space. I mean, that could be from the street, it's not accessible. I mean, it's accessible, but not ADA approved. Another question I would have is, how many of the parking spots in the front of the building are used by DHS? You know, and
I have a couple meetings there a month or so, and
Can we,
I usually am able to park in front of the building if I so choose, but not always. Yeah.
you know, so I mean, can they help us out there a little bit if?
yeah, sliding a little bit
Yeah.
if they can? Do we have the right, through our lease, to make more accessible parking down there for more handicap parking? Without jumping through any extra hoop?
Or in the north lot, you mean?
Yeah, on the north lot, can we just block it off and repaint it and don't
Yeah,
have to worry about it?
I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem,
I
you know.
wouldn't think so, but.
Yeah, I don't see a problem. But I think by law, we're required, by law, every business has to have a certain amount of
Right.
handicap parking.
So if you
So-
go over.
So we'll have to meet that qualification, and we can't.
Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't think there was anything to stop us from doing our lease that would be that.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, let me clarify in my own mind. When you're talking about the counter space, you're talking about the counter space from the steps, right? You're not talking about the counter space in the back that
No.
case management had.
No, no.
You're not talking about that space.
We're not talking to that area back behind that
Okay.
door.
And I think the point you're trying to make is they have to go, if it was to be handicap accessible, they have to come from the north parking lot down the hall to get to the counter.
Right.
That's true. And then to get there, there'd be some offices that are behind and some that would be in the hallway.
Right.
Obviously, if they were designing a building to inhabit, this wouldn't be exactly the way they do it, but they're looking for about a 2-year stint, which would be nice. I don't know, I think we need to give it a shot. It's up to the rest of the
Oh,
board.
yeah, yeah,
Rich's concern
absolutely.
is something I thought of, you know, there's a lot of what ifs. What if we are holding it empty and somebody wants it long-term? That's a risk.
But we've been holding it for quite a while now, so I'd say that is a smaller percentage than
Time to move on.
one would think.
Could happen.
Yep.
Sure, occupied. Absolutely, that could happen.
And maybe we show the use of it, that maybe someone else will jump in after they jump out.
So anyhow, just said a little bit about it. We're gonna have the thoughts from the board and how the board wishes to proceed.
I think you're probably right, we need to go, since we have that contract, let's go through Lynn to do it, I think.
Well, we don't have to go through Lance to do this, but I think it's advisable that we do. But whether we go through them or not,
They're gonna get the $1,000.
they're gonna get their commission. So
Yeah.
my thing is,
Let's make them work for it.
they're getting paid to do this. Let's use their expertise, because let's make them earn
Yeah.
their keep.
I agree.
And the rental rate will stay the same.
That's something we need to decide, and
Mhm.
I don't know what you want to do in the rental rate. We've got a rate established, and I think no matter what we propose to the city, there's room for negotiation everywhere.
Yep.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I guess I don't,
And
since it's in a, the situation the way it is, they're looking for something, and I think we can help them out if they decide that this would be something they would want to pursue. I guess that's the way I look at it.
And if we keep an eye on this, at some point, we're gonna read an agenda that says city council's got X number of RFPs for their office space, and if it's only one, we feel pretty good about that.
Mhm.
If it's 16, then we think, well, at least we tried, but
Mhm.
we still might get it. We might want to negotiate a little bit more.
Len's probably help us with that negotiation on that.
Absolutely.
Get us in
That's
the
what-
ballpark of where we supposed to should be.
That's what, part of what they get paid for to
Right.
do.
Mhm.
And they're, yeah.
So what are we looking for here? Are we looking for, want someone to go down and visit with Len's about it? And
Yeah, Neil, you've kind of worked with them on
Yeah.
that, you want to go ahead and do it?
I'd be glad
If
to.
you've
someone
got the
else is-
time.
I would be glad to, if someone else wishes to. I'm
If you-
flexible. If it's something some of you have an interest in, it's fine. Otherwise, I'd be glad to step forward. on
You've
behalf of the
kind of
board.
always been the go-to on that deal, why don't you just go ahead
Okay.
and
All
follow
right.
through on that,
If you would.
and just, you plan on just tell them about it, let them turn the reins loose and let them do all the application and everything? Is that what you're thinking, Neil?
Yep.
Just have them do it all?
And as I look at the calendar, we have one more meeting before our, actually two meetings,
Yeah.
depending what time, 1 PM. We have two meetings to tweak this, and one is the day of is the due date here at 1 o'clock. So here will be my objective, is to get something drawn up and presented for our next meeting for our consideration. And at that point, we may go into closed session, which we're very, we have every right to do on this. And it'll probably be closed session. And if we get to that point, I'll inform Courtney, so she can get it on the closed session for real estate discussion.
very good.
Okay? Yep.
Thanks for
And
grabbing
if any of you
the
have
reins.
any suggestions between, real quickly, get them to me.
Thanks for grabbing the reins, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Okay, let's go back to Mr. Darrell Baker. You want to pull up a chair and have a seat here?
I'll need a copy.
I think there was one there.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Darrell.
Morning.
How are you guys?
Good.
Good. And Courtney.
All right, let's go talk about this compensation we need to get to Darrell for doing the intermittent.
So
Director.
he did turn in hours. They're August 21st through September 7th. Got a total of 69 hours. And I did look to see what the former director's hourly rate was, and it was $31.74. And I talked to Darryl a little bit, these hours are above the full-time schedule he's been keeping with his normal paramedic job too, so. It's a lot of hours.
Yeah, Yeah, I think we should approach this differently, and I share responsibility, and I'm just,
That's
this
fine.
member of the boards, everything. I feel this should have been discussed with you before this point, but it wasn't, so here we are.
And
So
if you
here we
want to
are.
discuss it without me here too, I understand.
Yeah, and so I think that's something we should have had decided before
Yeah,
we had a
kinda-
handshake deal, and I share responsibility for that.
We kind of was
Yeah, I think
looking
we all
at
do.
short position.
Yep.
And it all came up quick, but here we are. So what do we do?
Now, these 69 hours, they are from when to when?
October 21st
Oh,
through
okay.
September
August.
7th.
August.
We're in October. We're talking about October
Okay.
before. August 21st through September 7th.
And these were above, beyond your regular hours.
These are not my regular hours now, and I'm not padding the time or anything like that. I'm too old to play that game.
Well,
This is,
What it is.
yeah, it's
Well,
what it is.
I'm sure you're gonna have a lot in there first,
Yeah.
when you get your feet,
And I've got-
understand where things are at.
And I've got more since then because the place, as far as the medical stuff, runs its own, but there's been a lot of issues, which I talked to you two a little bit about the other day, that's needed to be done, so. Can I go through that quick, like?
Sure.
Sure.
I give Rich a call the other day, and him and Gene come down, and I thought I'd let him know what's going on around there a little bit. Not that I'm into wasting taxpayer money, but Medic 6, Manning's ambulance, would not start. So we got it up here, we needed batteries, we needed alternator, the inverter was bad, the idler pulleys were bad, the belt was not very good, we had to change fluid in it. Anybody that does much repair, you know, we're gonna have close to a couple grand in it by the time we're said and done. Medic 4's got an oil leak. Rick thought it was gonna be around $1,200. The Dwayne's Repair's doing that. I've not got the bill on that yet. I have no idea, but that was, it needed to be fixed. I guess it was pretty leak. Then what else did I talk to you guys about? Medic 4's blood pressure cuff, they have an automatic cuff, which they need on transfers, went bad. So that's a $300 item or so, so we're getting one of them.
Brita.
Mhm.
Brita one.
I'm getting a Brita now. Brita's heart monitor went bad. It was an old Life Pack 12, we have Life Pack 15s now. From what the salesman told me, it was like the second or third year they made Life Pack 12s. It's a $1,000 unit that's $4,000 to fix. Well, I got to talking to the physio rep. The last year the Life Pack 12s were made, I forget what the name of the town. They have one for sale.
Farmington, I think.
Farmington, that was it, thank you. They started at $5,500, it was the monitor, the charger, and 6 batteries. Well, I told them how desolate we were and everything, and I got them down to $4,000. So we got that done. The other thing I brought up to those two was, since the state come, we were supposed to do training. The paramedics were with what they call, where we put the needle in your throat, in their way, or in your ribs. It's a crike or a thoracotomy is what they call it. We're supposed to be training on that. That is a state deal. In fact, sorry about that. I even found a letter from it. We have not been doing that. We need a mannequin to do it right. We can talk about it, but you cannot. You know, you can't practice it until we have it. So Mike and I are working on the price of this mannequin. I do not have one yet. It could be $1,000, it could be a little less, it could be a lot more, we don't know yet. But I just thought I would bring somebody down and say, this is what I'm doing right now. So if there's any questions, fire away.
Is there anybody that rents Madigan's, or the hospital have one or something
The
like that?
hospital's got one. They are not too thrilled about letting us use it because theirs is very, very expensive. And as far as anybody else in the area, if they've got one, they will not let us use it because it's theirs. And they're afraid something might happen to it. I talked to the hospital about it, and They want nothing with us to do about going up there with theirs.
Yeah, my thought process was, well, this isn't something that you're gonna do every day, you need to get the training, and then you're gonna park the mannequin for a while and come back to it. If it'd be one you could borrow or rent.
The thing of it is it will be used about every 3 months. Because we will set it up where that is a quarterly, this says once a year. But we always set it up, instead of once a year, we do it every quarter.
Kind of a refresher.
Refresher on it. This way, if somebody happens to miss one when the state comes in, we can say, well, see, we're still going above and beyond, and that's what they like to see. But it will be used a minimum by everybody of once a quarter. But knowing our group of people, especially at the beginning, it will be down quite a bit and being used. Because it's something new we gotta play with, and we're not sure how to do it.
So this mannequin won't be used just necessarily for the needle process, it'll be used for all these other things?
Yeah, we can use it for the other things too.
Yes. So what were you doing for this other stuff in the meantime?
We're just using an old mannequin, and to be truthful, we haven't been doing it because we weren't told we were supposed to. So we've kind of been in violation of the state a little bit because we have not been doing that, but now we're gonna, I've talked to everybody about it, and we're gonna start getting everybody going with it. And that also includes the outlying services, not just us.
So you can take that mannequin to Breda and
We can
train
go
those
Breda,
people?
we can go to Coon,
Yeah.
we can go where.
I sure don't have a problem with that. think
And I
that's-
don't know the cost of that yet.
that's
This
good.
is just something.
You don't know the cost of that?
No.
Yeah.
I will talk to somebody.
You were telling us the other day that this thing is, there's a certain area where, once you get to use it so long, there's a part that just replaces that
Yeah.
certain area where they stick at.
Like if we're playing or practicing here and we get a lot of holes in this, you just pop that piece of skin out and you can put
another
another
piece
one in.
Okay.
So it's not like we'll use it, 100 times and it's shot.
Throw the whole mannequin away?
Yeah, it is reusable.
Darrell, I'm just thinking outside the box here a little bit. Is there any way that these paramedic training places, that we can get them to come here and do CEUs for you guys on at least maybe quarterly or semi-annually?
We used to years ago have people come quarterly and do it. It got very expensive.
Well, and that's the next question, was
That's-
the cost versus
yeah.
this. It's a balancing act. Yeah.
That's why we quit doing it every quarter, and we're still trying to figure out what to do. A lot of the paramedics now will go to refresher courses or conferences coming up, and they will talk about all the new stuff, the stuff we should be doing, and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And that's where we get a lot of our CEs at, but.
No, I just throwing this out.
Yeah. No, that's
as a-
fine.
As an option.
Throw whatever you want at me, I'll try to answer.
No, that's fine, I appreciate it.
But one of those places is about Sioux City, right? They do it up there.
Sioux City and Des Moines, I need
They
to.
have like a whole weekend.
Whole weekend. Now Crawford County has a free one once a year, and I can't remember where it is. But it is not as good as the Sioux City and Des Moines because it's their paramedics teaching what they do every day. What we get at Sioux City and Des Moines is we're getting doctors, CRNAs, nurses, what we don't do every day.
People that see trauma.
People that see the trauma and also do the new stuff that's coming down the pipe that we have not done to get us aware of it and what's going down.
I'm expand this a little bit. Obviously, if us as supervisors had known that this training wasn't happening, we would have said, hey, we need to get this done. And in addition, the ambulance board has wanted a little better sense of direction, and Rich has been working hard, and one of the things he has written is they need to be aware of the training requirements, et cetera, of the state of Iowa. So with that in mind, my question is, how does a county supervisor or an ambulance board member know if or not all this training is getting done?
Well, the one thing we could start doing now that we're gonna get this going is we have to keep records of it to show to the state of Iowa that we are doing everything on this page. So the ambulance board or anybody can, and once we get going, I can even bring them up if you guys request them, or whoever's in this chair can request them, but we can bring them up to make sure that you guys see they're being done. but we have to keep track of these records. Everybody's supposed to keep track of their own, but you know how that works. It doesn't work very good, so, somebody at the office, it's either Ray and Rick, is keeping track of everything.
Okay.
And we have a book that we sign into that we've done your training. Does that answer your question, Neil?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank
And
you.
it's just something that, like on this right now, we've just been blindsided because we weren't getting that report.
Talked to those guys a little bit the other day, it's like, I'll come up as often as you want and talk to you, because it's no big deal, that's part of it.
All right, that's a little bit outside of the parameter we
Yeah,
were talking
no,
about,
that's
but
fine.
it was appropriate at this time.
It's questions that need to be asked, in my opinion. But when the state comes around, they will ask us for all this stuff on here, and she will want to see a record. And that's when we will have documentation, so. like
So you're
I said,
saying that some of the stuff has not been completed in
Very
the
little
past?
of it's been completed.
So when they come around and see that this has not been completed, what happens then?
Oh, it'll be a violation, we'll get growled at, and we'll be told to get it straightened out. But if we get started now, by the time she comes around, and I think it's 18 or 19, if we can get this going, which I'm planning on doing until you guys decide what you're doing for the future, but I will get this going, and we will have records, and we can go back far enough where the state will say, okay, you got a late start, but you're doing it now, no big, she won't have a big issue.
But, Darrell, we just went through recertification not that long ago, didn't we?
Yeah, in
So-
16.
So we're not like we're totally out of the order.
Yeah,
Anytime, biggest thing is this new thing is the biggest one.
She'll come back in 2 or 3 years, I can't remember which one.
I think it's three, I think.
And,
I might be wrong.
I've been talking to her on some other things, making sure that, everything is up to snuff, and we haven't even got to that yet, so.
Okay.
Any other questions about what I'm doing right now? I'm just trying to keep everybody.
Is this,
And we appreciate the information coming back.
one more dig at the, trying to think of the word, Manigan. One say cadaver, that one, right? Manigan.
Let's go down that path.
No. Is this do other ambulances, services all have their own Manigan, or is this something that could be shuffled around between counties, or
I
do
have
they all
no-
just?
I have no idea, that's something you gotta check into.
It's just something, if this is a common problem and expense, I could see where you could go together with a couple other counties and have a portable Manigan to use for your respective training.
Because there'll be replacement pieces
But
that
the
get
thing is,
interchanged.
you're talking what? You think maybe around 1,000?
I'm thinking around 1,000, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's not that much.
Well, it's
Well,
just-
and the thing is, if we got one here, they can utilize it between Breda and.
Yeah.
The thing of it is, like I'm thinking right now, I know the guys in Sac County really well, and if I take it up there, I know the guys in Sac, they'll say we wanna use it, they'll use it, look at it, use it once and be done. And then when my people wanna train, it's like, we gotta get that to Sac and bring it back. There is another issue I gotta bring up with you gentlemen, that I found out that you guys did not know about. And I have not got an answer yet, but we have one ambulance, right now it's sitting in Manning while ours is getting fixed. We're having problems with the DEF system. It keeps saying the DEF system is low quality fluid, maximum speed, 4 mile an hour, blah, we can drive faster than that. But it also messes with the airbag sensors and all the other sensors. We have had it to, I'm not sure how many, 2 places in Carroll, we've had it to Lake City, we've had it to Coon Rapids, and we've had it to Bob Brown in Des Moines. It runs a week or so fine, and then it comes right back on. Now, we heard that we could disconnect that DES system, and that you guys were aware of that. I found out we're not, you're not. But what I'm trying to do right now is, I can call these places and they will say, yeah, we unhook it for this truck driver and that truck driver. They're not ambulances. I'm trying to find out what the official word is on an ambulance. So right now, we're just kind of driving it as it is because we'll take it somewhere, we'll spend $1,500-1,800, I think Becker said, and a week or two later, we're back in the same boat.
I'd heard about this DEF once before, but I
Yeah,
had
I
never
think I
heard it
have.
again,
Yeah.
and so I assumed it was taken care of.
And,
But I had heard of it.
okay, I didn't know,
I
I
had
talked
heard
to
of
Gene
it.
about it one day, and he couldn't remember, but. you
So
know,
that's gotta
wasn't
be on
sure.
a fairly new vehicle.
It's on, what is this, is 17?
Is it a 14?
16.
13 or 14?
It's on a 12. It's on a 12.
Really, that old?
Yeah, it's on a 12.
So are you talking about disconnecting the sensor or disconnecting the system? Because I don't think you can disconnect the system.
Well, they say you can, truckers claim that you can just go in there on a computer and disconnect the sensor and it will not read and you'll be fine. But that is hearsay. I do not have any facts yet, and that's what I'm working on. And I'm not doing nothing until I talk to somebody that knows about ambulances, because we're a different ballgame than a trucker, you know.
Well, I don't want to lose the airbag sensors by doing that, you know.
Well, they claim when you shut, the reason the airbag sensors are going off is because the depth sensor is setting everything else off.
It's setting off the chain of events.
And they claim, you know, you drive it, you clean it, you drive it hard and clean it, and it will work fine. Well, gentlemen, you know how ambulances go, they drive fairly hard anyhow. It's not staying clean, we don't know what it is. So last time from Bob Brown, I did find a bill, and they're like, we fixed it, but we don't know why it keeps doing it, and they don't want it back. And we can take it, like I said, Mackey's in Lake City, Dan says has been really good about fixing it, but it's going into their pocket because every 2 weeks we're back up there with it out again. Same deal.
Trouble. So with that.
We're not sure what it is.
So with that, you have to recharge those so
Mhm.
often. And basically, when you recharge them, I mean, if you're on the road driving like a semi is, there's no problem.
Yeah.
It's when you're
But,
when you're not, then that becomes an issue. So do you guys, are you doing that on a regular basis? Are you?
being on the road?
No, recharging the DEF system.
Yes, we are. Becker is recharging it.
Okay, so I mean, that would appear to me to be part of the problem, is that maybe the recharge isn't getting done
But
as.
then even, we take it to any dealer, and they do it over us to make sure it still should last longer than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And like I said, we run it down the road. Whatever
Has
road-
anybody talked to the manufacturer?
I have no idea. That's what,
Is that a Ford or Chevy?
now what they'll claim is, we talked
I
to
guess it was
the
GMC.
manufacturer of the ambulance box, because they said, that's not our issue, that's a chassis issue. Well, Pat one time said he talked to somebody, I don't know who, and they said it was an ambulance issue, not the chassis issue. Well, we're getting back and forth, but that's hearsay, I do not know. So that's why I'm trying to find out the facts to bring to you guys or somebody. But that is an issue I need to figure out what to do with, and I'm still digging. So far, all I'm getting is the runaround, so. I tried the state of Iowa, and they told me to call this person, and I have like 9 calls into this person, and
How many miles is on this thing?
that's a good question. 160,000, I think.
That's a 5-year-old vehicle, so.
So,
Is it the next one in order line to go?
it's the next one in line to go out into the county,
Go out to the county.
not down the
So
road.
we'd just be pushing it down the road.
And if it was the next one to go down the line, then I'd be talking to you about something else, but it is the next one to go around in county, so that's why I'm kind of thinking about, we need to figure out what's wrong with it or what to do with it.
Well, I can see like when you pull up, you pull to I don't want to say a patient or a customer's home, and you're letting it sit idle. That's probably the worst thing that you can do with a DEF system.
Well-
And I don't know how you get around that, but.
Well, and see, we have a rotation set up so nobody just puts all the miles on the new ambulance.
Mhm.
We have the 3 there every day. One of them is a different first
Yeah.
rig out. So they are all getting highway time going down the road.
Yeah.
They all get to Des Moines, Omaha, wherever, so they're getting down the road.
So this isn't the only deaf vehicle you have?
No, this is the only one giving us an issue.
Yeah.
The other two newer ones are not having
Working
an
fine.
issue at all. The 2014, I think it is, don't quote me on the years, because I'm not sure. That one, we need to change the depth filter on, it's getting up the time. And we also have a little clunk, which I forgot to mention, in the rear end of that. It seems like when we get around 60 to 80,000 miles where this one's at, we always have to go in and have the rear end fluid changed and just checked out maintenance on it. So that's coming down the pipe, because you can hear it clunk every now and then. And it's just, I don't know what it is with our ambulances, or ambulances in general, but you get around 80,000 miles on the rear end, you gotta do some maintenance on it.
Hmm.
I know I didn't bring you all good news, but I'm just bringing you the facts.
That's right.
We know them, or as I know them, so. Any other questions about anything I brought up, I can tell you, or try to answer.
I'm good.
I would suggest on that one you're having that trouble with, I'd get a hold of, and really, if you've been taking up the is it a GM or what is it?
Should be, it's a
It's a
GM.
GM, I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's a GM.
Well, see, they don't handle GM, but your GM dealer should.
That's right, Bob Brown, you think he'd be about as good as anybody
Yeah.
with it.
They should be getting hold of manufacturers, say, hey, here's a one that we're having a,
But when you put that word ambulance into quotation, they all get
That's
nervous.
beside the point.
I know it is, but that's
the chassis.
besides the point, but the chassis and,
Who's in yours, the GM, is there one in Denison and that, is Adams GM?
But, yeah, Adams, I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, he does drive it.
Don't
He has
go there.
GMCs.
and Mackey's in Lake City does Chevys and GMCs, so.
Oh, that's
Oh, they
right,
are
that's
GM.
right, that's right, they are.
And it's been up there
So-
2 or
Oh,
3
do
times.
they have GMC?
Yeah, I see it's on their
Yeah.
sign too, yeah.
Okay, then I would go up there and talk to
But
their
you've
guys.
done that, right?
Well, I'd talk to their guy, their shop foreman and say, hey, have you talked to the company about it?
I'll see what I can find out.
Do you know how many miles are on that, or maybe you said that already?
Yeah, around 160, I believe. Don't quote
160.
me. But I'm pretty sure that's pretty close. So,
Darrell, one other question. You feeling comfortable enough to do an ambulance meeting, ambulance board meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
We need to get one of those scheduled and get it in the hopper. And,
Yeah, let me know.
okay, very good.
I'll do whatever it takes to get us through this, guys.
Okay.
I guess you mentioned about the meetings, Darrell, as far as coming up and talking to us to what's going on. I'd like to see it every month or two, to kind of get things back on track again.
As long as I'm
Yeah.
intern or whatever, I'm willing to come up, just
Yeah.
not a big deal to me. I think I should, or somebody should be up there.
Yeah,
We've covered a lot of ground today.
yeah.
Yeah,
What is-
I'm thinking that it's probably gonna be a shorter time before you're back here, than a month. I
Yeah.
think it's, you've got
Well,
some.
The other day when we were down there, and I think
There's a lot of issues to face.
Darrell brought a lot of stuff up. Darrell's been trying to find out a lot of answers for a lot of things. So I'm just gonna leave it there.
You put me in as intern, and I'm the guy that throws my whole deal into it.
Yeah.
I'm not just doing to get by, I need to keep everybody going and keep this
Yeah.
place going.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that.
So,
Do we need compensation while he's here?
Now, you wanna discuss this compensation while he's here, or?
Yeah.
I would just not be here.
Okay, that's up to you.
It's up to you guys, because I don't want anybody, thank you. Oh, don't laugh at me, I'm chickening now, I know that, but.
No, that's fine.
But I just feel
I feel
awkward
the same.
talking
I
about
feel
it
the
in
same.
here, unless you guys want.
Have you discussed any of this with Courtney as far as what your
Nope.
recommendation is as far
No, I
as
have
the
not.
compensation?
I don't think I have that one. Nope.
Okay.
This is-
He didn't give us a recommendation the other day.
No.
That's why I looked up, because I wanted to have a reference.
Okay.
But, I thank you gentlemen for your time.
Thank
you
for coming
Thank
in.
you.
And any questions, don't be
Um,
afraid to get
But
hold of me.
if you feel that need to come back in, call call Courtney.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get on the agenda, and don't be afraid, if it's a 5-10 minute thing, that's fine. We just soon do it 5-10 minutes at a time, rather than spend an hour on
I'm
something.
hoping to be back here in a couple of weeks, just with some information more.
Be
info.
great.
There you go.
That'd be
Very
great.
good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl.
That's mine.
Thanks, Daryl.
You guys have a good day.
You too.
You too, Courtney.
All right.
Okay, we're down to the compensation on that. And I agree with you, Neil, this is something that should have been done, but it
Okay,
kind of
we're
got
all in
thrown.
together.
Yeah,
Kind of got
absolutely.
thrown
Kinda
in
got
the-
away.
into this
I'm
real
pointing fingers
fast.
5 ways.
We kinda got away from all of us.
You don't
all
point
deserve-
at it,
we all
don't point at
deserve it.
anybody, it comes back at you.
That's what I said, pointing fingers 5 ways.
I will say this, after, Rich and I went down there after last week, or that was Friday, I guess. it was.
Friday.
Friday's meeting.
Yeah.
I'm glad Courtney suggested Daryl, because I think Daryl, he's digging into stuff.
I did that just because I knew he'd helped out in the past, and I know he cares about the
He
does.
department, so, that's
He
huge.
does. It
That's
is
huge.
big.
And I just, just to keep in mind is these hours he's putting in, like we said, are above and beyond his paramedic hours. So we've got an overtime issue too, we got to keep
Correct.
that in mind that, he's covered on the paramedic side with that pay, through the union, but, if you really look at it, these hours are really all done
On top of that.
on top of that, so, just something to keep in mind.
So are we looking at a 3-week period? Is that what kind of we're looking
Well,
at?
it's the-
About 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So 69 hours over 3 weeks, so you're talking 20 hours, 20-plus hours a week that he's putting in more.
Yeah, 69 times the 31, which would be full pay, comes to about 2,100, but he's also, you gotta remember, he's getting paid his paramedic pay in that also, so.
Okay, let's talk just a minute about the overtime situation. How does that get figured? Does it get figured on the salary we're gonna determine? Does it get figured on the paramedic end? On which salary does the overtime figured?
I am kind of leaning towards doing a lump sum by the month payment and not by the hour.
Okay.
I kinda look at the
That's
same
where
thing.
I'm leaning. I'm
Well,
open,
all
willing
right.
to hear your side of it, but.
Courtney, with this, he is a paramedic first, he's actually got 2 jobs with this. Paramedic, and he's also
Interim
interim
director.
director. So those hours probably would not be considered overtime for his paramedic, would they?
Yes, because we ran into that. We had a jailer that did
It
part-time
would?
maintenance for us, and it was an overtime issue because they had so many hours in the jail and so many. It's by your employer.
So if we give him a salary as opposed to an hourly compensation for his director, he's still gonna keep track of his hours, get overtime. So my question still stands.
Yeah.
Well, the paramedic hours are tracked, and if he earns money in overtime and paramedic hours, those are paid out according to the union contract. This position is technically an exempt position. It's a
Right.
director position, so I think the hours he does as a paramedic are separate from these, because this is an exempt position for overtime. But he's still gonna earn overtime if he's acting as a paramedic on those hours.
Yeah,
But
so if he
these
puts in
hours-
45 hours
Yeah.
as a paramedic, he's gonna get paid 5 hours overtime.
But these hours are technically as the interim director, and that is an exempt position to overtime.
Which would kind of,
So, if you wanted to set a salary of X number of dollars based on how many hours were put in, you could certainly do that.
would that be the cleaner way to do it?
It doesn't matter. You could do it hourly, or you could just say this, for this timeframe, the county will give you X number of dollars for
You know,
work that was completed.
I guess I look at this, I mean, he's got a lot of hours there in that 3-week period, but as things kind of taper off a little bit. He's not gonna spend as much time.
It should come down a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at this, it's a 3-week period, he's basically putting a little over 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
So he's doing about half of what a regular director
would be doing.
And I wanna, I tell you what, the one thing I don't wanna do is short Darryl, because Darryl stepped up to the plate to do this. And, I wanna treat him right.
Right.
I think we all want to have a fair compensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said the interim director, or the director was at $31, did you say?
$31.74.
$31.74?
I'm kind of with Rich. I'd like to set it just a lump dollar amount and be done.
He takes his paramedic pay, plus his overtime for that, and then so much on top of that. Now, this is only gonna last, this is,
Could we get the new
You said
director?
3173?
we got about.
74.
We probably really would be doing it 2
$2,100 or
months.
something, roughly.
Because October 15th is closing date on
New director.
the new directors.
And the new director will probably have to give 2 weeks' notice somewhere else.
So, yeah, we're
We'll be in
looking at
November, probably.
October and September and just a hair of August, so keep that in mind. That is probably, this will only be done for a couple of months, and then it's all gonna change again. It depends on where it all fits. I wouldn't be opposed to giving him a couple $1,000 a month on top of his regular pay.
Well, if you
Right
just
now.
take a week's pay at 31, at 20, and I took 23 hours.
$600.
$730 a week.
And we can go back by the week too, or even do so much a month,
And I
Maybe it's better
think,
to do it
and
by
I
the
than
week,
agree
I
that
don't-
he put a lot of hours in now, but he was searched his way through stuff, because
Yep.
he went in there dark.
Probably,
How much a month?
Well, I was thinking closer to like $2,000 a month, but maybe the fairest way to do it is maybe by the week until we get to the other end of this too. So, I guess 600. Yeah, I'd hate to do this all for
Or
700.
maybe on a 2-week period as our payroll
Oh,
naturally falls.
correct.
Yeah.
So I'd like a week better than a month, but maybe every 5
weeks.
monthly or twice a month, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Courtney, does it make more sense on get to have it, every other week, or twice a month, like everybody else gets paid?
Yeah, it would.
So maybe if we get a rate set up for getting paid the
So you think
first and the
maybe
15th.
$1,000 per pay
Bi-monthly.
period?
Yeah, something like that.
Bi-monthly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and he just said if he didn't feel like he was getting compensated fairly, that he just wouldn't do it. So, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
So, what is, he didn't, but he
Yeah,
didn't tell me
he
what he
wouldn't tell
thought
me
was
what
fair
fairly.
either.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's kind of I tried to pin him the other day too, and he wouldn't move.
I guess I assumed that if it was somewhere close to director pay, that would be pretty fair, but.
Yeah.
Director pay, what is director pay? It was about
So-
$5,000 a month.
Yeah.
He's a little over 60. That's over 5, and we're only compensating him, not even half of that.
Well, we're considering it on 20 hours, though.
Correct.
Correct. So, I mean, that's the difference. I mean, I don't mind giving, if he understands the fact that he's being compensated for what his past, hours have been, and given him a lump sum,
Mhm.
then that would, because if you were going to,
Well, like-
it'd come up pretty darn close to that director pay if you were gonna double his hours.
Yeah.
Like I said, as he gets into this, things are gonna taper off a little bit.
Yeah.
He's in that kind of sink or swim mode right now.
Yep.
And that's just,
I just wonder if we shouldn't arrive at a compensation that we all can agree on, and then you and Rich go talk to him about it and give you guys latitude to move a little bit on that. If he, it depends on how he reacts to the offer. Does that make any sense?
Mhm. I guess my thoughts are start at $1,000 every 2 weeks, take that to him and just see what his thoughts are.
That, he's got the way I figured it. If he took 69 hours, that was a 3-week period, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's 23 hours a week. And that was at, what, 31.74?
Mhm.
That's $730 per week.
To be 1,400 and something, 14.
Yeah.
Just say even that, or just say, and Neil's talking about every 2 weeks, maybe we give him $1,500 every 2 weeks.
That's a third more than what you would.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I agree with Marty in that his time's gonna be shrinking.
Shrinking.
His investment's.
One hopefully is going to
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
hopefully he's not finding any more.
So,
issues.
so are you suggesting that we pay him for what hours he's got and then do it so much every 2 weeks then?
Sure, that'd work with me.
Yeah.
Paying for the 69 and then $1,000 a week after that.
Or
Is that what you're saying?
every, flat out paying for the hours he's done. But starting now, so much bi-monthly, flat rate bi-monthly here on forward.
Okay.
So he's,
That's what I
and I
understand.
think his startup hours, I assume they're much more than what his continuation hours is gonna be.
Will be.
Mhm.
So let's pay him for every hour he's done, flat rate, and then give him a bi-monthly compensation from here on out.
Of what?
Hmm?
Of what?
Yes, of an amount that we
We
decide.
say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And starting when? Because he's got out, I mean, this ran through the 7th, and here we are on the 18th.
Starting the 15th, or,
That makes payroll really easy if you started on the 15th.
That's what I was gonna say, we wanna-
We appreciate that. We do
Yeah.
that.
and,
So what we should do is get the rest of his hours from
Yeah.
then to the 15th.
right.
So hours through the 15th,
Yeah.
Yep.
and so beginning 9/16, 17, it'll be a flat rate, semi-monthly like we all get.
Yeah.
And that amount was?
I don't know, we're
$1,000 a month.
We're between 1,000 and
A pay
1,500.
period. I would
Pay
think
period.
$1,000 per pay
Pay-
period.
pay-
That's where I'm at.
That's where I lean to, too.
I'm okay with that. And
Yeah.
once approaching that, and tell him if that's not agreeable, you have to come back to the board.
And that's why I asked Courtney if he had mentioned anything to,
No
Well,
hints.
you're
Yeah.
suggesting something that, weren't you also suggesting that this is what we can live with? And do you want to give us some latitude if he says that's not enough?
Just tell him if it's different. If it doesn't work, you'll have to come back and talk to the board. 'Cause I don't know how much latitude to give you.
well, I don't think he
I
wants to
know.
come back to the board.
No, he
You know,
won't.
otherwise he would have stayed and
No,
said
no,
something,
no.
you know, so you're
They-
talking about these guys.
they would have to
Yeah,
come back to the
yeah,
board.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to lose the guy. I mean, we don't need this to happen twice,
No.
you know?
No.
We don't want to be, so I
I
would,
guess-
I'd have,
I'd just leave it open and talk to him and just go from there. We
Yeah.
can address it next week if we have to.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll start from that point and then
Yeah.
keep.
Well, we'll make sure we get the hours
Right.
that he has up to the 15th.
I will stop after today. I will go down and instruct him to bring his hours up to
Okay.
the
Well, I think
15th.
that's the first thing we need to do is ask him that.
Yeah.
And then also tell him that we're gonna pay you for those hours, and then we're gonna offer you
This
$1,000 per pay period from that point on, and I'll get his reaction from it.
I think both you guys should go down there,
That's fine.
if it's all right.
If you got time,
Yeah.
Yep.
just for a little bit.
Yeah,
Either
he'll-
somewhere, Marty or
he'll
somebody
know
else.
how
can
he
do it.
feels, 'cause
Yeah.
he'll tell you.
He'll
Yep.
get-
Yep.
You'll get a
Yeah,
reaction.
Daryl's not.
He's pretty straightforward.
Yes.
That's okay.
Okay.
Do you need a motion to that effect?
I think we need a motion to pay out the hours
To the 15th.
through
The
the
69.
15th. Yeah, through the 15th of September. Is where we'll be spending that money.
At a rate of,
31.74 is what we talking about.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Pay out those hours up to the 15th. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay. All right. That's enough of that. Committee reports. Can I ask a favor of you? I would just as soon you not put anything about them dollars on this last subject in today's. Give us some time to talk to him.
Tomorrow morning, okay?
Yeah. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Happy to do that.
I better not say what I was gonna say. I'll just leave it there. I'll talk to sometime privately about it. Okay, Marty.
Okay, start off with the committee reports. Last Monday evening, had the Wesco board meeting. Big topic of discussion was the Redemption Center update there. We've got a backlog of cans, about 1 million cans sitting in there.
You know what?
1 million cans from the Redemption Center. They're taking in about 50 to 60,000 cans a day. And we've got a conveyor and stuff put in there, so they're trying to find help to kind of get things caught up. It's gonna be about a 2 or 3 month process, the way things are looking. It's one of those issues that after the first of the year in legislation, this issue needs to be addressed big time, because it is becoming a big problem. And it's with the bottle bill. Then we went into executive session after that in regards with the monies, with the MCOs, with kind of the lag time there. Money's kind of an issue there. So we talked about the paid time off, and basically what we're gonna do instead of addressing it with money is we're the management, we're gonna give them personal days, 2 personal days per quarter off until June 30th of next year, so we see where we're at kind of fiscally, and then we'll kind of address the issue from there. So that's all I had last Monday, and then I had a couple road issues. Had one person call me from up in your neck of the woods in regards to gravel on 170th and Falcon. They were getting, one person was getting a lot of flat tires. I talked to Dave a little bit about it to see if they were putting crushed concrete with it. He said they're not. He said it's basically in the rock itself. So I talked to Dave and addressed that issue. And then last Saturday morning, you got a call out by the airport. There's a bunch of road closed signs blown onto the highway after on M38 by the airport. Called the sign man and to see if they were our signs. They weren't our signs, so I took those off, and I had Dave addressing that issue today, so we're gonna find out what's going on there. If the road's closed, I guess the county should know about it if it's a county road, but we'll see where that goes and find out more there today. So that's all I had this week.
Where was this at?
Out by the airport. They're putting road closed signs up. I don't know what they're doing.
Who is?
Who put them up?
Supposedly the contractor. They haven't done anything yet, but they're
Which
just.
contractor?
I don't know who it is. There's a cat and scraper sitting there, and I never went in to see any names on it or anything, but I thought it was kind of peculiar that the road signs were out on the road, and the county and Dave didn't know about it.
Doesn't know anything about it. There's no work. Connie's doing the work there, right?
No, it's a contractor doing the work.
On what?
I don't know what they're gonna do. So Dave's checking into it today.
Huh.
If the
Yeah,
road's closed.
that's pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
Is that pretty good?
Yeah.
So,
Want a
that's
road
all I
closed
have
sign
as far
for-
as this
want a
week. I
road
don't
closed
have
sign for
anything
your
scheduled
house?
so far. That'll
I don't want
change.
anybody driving by me anymore.
Just put it up whenever you want.
Yeah, so
Well, we're done.
Dave is gonna check into it with the airport.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably using the sign for multiple purposes.
I don't know.
Trying to get people to slow down, so they're probably doing, I don't know, working on the edge.
We'll find out today. Dave's gonna call me back. So that's all I had.
Interesting.
What do you got this week?
This week, nothing scheduled so far.
Okay, Neil?
Okay, well, last week, of course, we all canvassed the election. I went to the chamber, ribbon cutting and everything for the First American Home Warranty. It's kind of nice to have another business day employing a little over 20 people, half of them at the site, half of them are at remote locations out of the home. and also did a little trolling around Fricky Building, looking at different parking situations there. This week, I have a Coalition of Human Services meeting on Wednesday, and also on Wednesday, I'll be meeting with the director of the Second Judicial District.
Thought you were fishing there for a little bit, saying trolling.
Trolling.
Dean?
Yeah, mine's pretty much
Is
just
there a
kind
law
of.
against that?
Huh?
Isn't there a law against that walking the streets?
Better than cadaver, that was a really bad.
You almost went down that path, didn't you, with cadaver?
I just had one meeting prior to my hiatus, and that would have been the Region 5 hazmat meeting, and I got it out this morning, and I left it on the kitchen table, the stuff, I guess. Just have to get back into the, but there were a couple things that I wanted to comment on, and Neil, you asked how much cash the region has. It has $163,000 in cash right now, which is a significant amount of money there. They also formed a foundation and to raise money. I think the thing is, they did show and I can bring this next week, I won't forget, the drawing of the new hazmat vehicle that they're going to purchase. They formed a foundation to raise money from companies like CJ Bio, Valero, Van Diest, those types of, well, and down here, I suppose they would, anybody who wants to give them money, they'll accept it. But so they do have a nonprofit organization foundation set up so that they can take this money. And I think that's what, I think they're very positive. I think they have a good feeling about raising enough money to buy this vehicle. Incidents-wise, just the past 2 months, I went back and looked at what they had. You know, they really didn't have, they had one LP leak. They severed a line. You know, a contractor severed a line, and they reacted to that. But the other, I think they had 3 more, and they were all diesel trucks that had tipped over. And they were cleaning up diesel spills. I still, and I passed this out to you guys as far as the, you know, the situation that I confronted, you know, right at the end of the meeting, and it was actually too late to bring it up. But I think that, I think you know how I feel, and I think everyone in the room feels, at this table feels the same way about the situation with one of the incidents, the second one on the sheet. We had a situation up there, and I think I reported on it last year, of Tony's Tire coming to, with their hazmat vehicle coming to sites. They hear them on the scanner, they show up, and they try to take over the business. And they did that successfully once to Fairway when it had a spill. They charged Fairway like $15,000 to clean up that. And Fairway was very upset about it. And so, you know, they went through a lot of work trying to control that, you know, with the highway patrolman. And here, I think we're not